Hello, my name is Ali, and welcome to my channel. We are back with Hakuoki Kyoto Win Sanan Sprout. Now, I'm finally able to get this game working. For some reason, my computer needed to restart, needed like an update, and it let me play other games, but it would not let me play Hakuoki. It was so weird. Anyway, let's just go. His head turned away, hiding his face, but not before I saw a myriad of conflicting emotions, like anger, even sadness appear. After a moment, Sanan squared his shoulders and brought his head up.
But it is too late now. They are Furies. Most of the Fury Corps was wiped out by the recent attack. This new blood, so to speak, is important. He will soon learn, and I will not treat him as living warriors while under my command, but as a Fury.
The smile he gave me was pleasant enough, if not for the edge that was just a little off.
Hate me if you wish. What I'm doing is inhumane.
The cruel twist of his words made me sad. I didn't realize we were going to already have a choice to make. We are going to say, I will leave him to you. That is what we're going to say. I will leave him to you. I turned to Sanan and bowed. I spoke from my heart. I'll leave him in your hands. You became a Fury first. When their suffering begins, I'm sure you are the only person that they can rely on. So, Sanan gave a troubled sigh. Butterfly!
You are quite the odd one. Even after all of this, you still trust me.
But I knew that he was still the same inside. He hadn't changed at all. Seeing him use the powers of the Fury so often, and relying on them so heavily, made me frightened. But I hadn't forgotten who he really was. The words I wanted to say to tell him that wouldn't come out regardless of how hard I tried. Sanan didn't notice and continued speaking.
Because you are concerned, I'll do what I can. I promise I shall look after him and guide him in his transition into Fury.
Sanan, thank you very much. All the strain was gone from Sanan's face. Our agreement seemed to bring him peace.
Well, it is time to wish you good night, Yukimura. I apologize for keeping you up at such a late hour.
Sanan? He turned to leave, but paused at the threshold when I called out to him. He glanced back at me. It's been very cold lately. I hope you're taking care of yourself. Have you been sleeping well? I know a lot of things are going on right now, so you might not be resting. Well, he raised an eyebrow. Your face has been kind of frightening lately, and every time I saw him, it looked like he was silently suffering, and I couldn't help but feel anxious for him. Sighing, he padded over to me, closing the distance between us so much that the fabric of his sleeves brushed my arm. CG! Sanan? His eyes caught and held mine. He leaned down so we were the same height, his face filling my vision. The look in his eyes was soft.
Most people are only concerned with themselves in a time like this. But you give yourself to those in need. I'm an adult. It would be my own fault if I fell ill. My well-being is my own responsibility.
That may be true, but that doesn't mean I'm not still worried about you. I clenched my fists, raised my chin, and stared. He was trying to pacify me, but I wouldn't let him. His face grew more troubled, and a sigh spilled from his lips.
Sometimes I find myself concerned about your kindness, Yukimura. I am fine. Please don't worry.
The tone in his voice indicated that he'd said the final word. It was pointless to argue anymore. Okay. Reluctantly, I nodded, and he stepped back, breaking off our eye contact. He smiled mysteriously and chuckled under his breath.
You managed to get me to be kind tonight.
What does that mean? His chuckle bubbled up into a full laugh. His words when he spoke were deliberately evasive.
If I start feeling sympathy for others, it would cause all kinds of problems. Anyway, good night again. Sweet dreams.
Oh. He swiftly walked off before I could stop him. I didn't know what to think. I hadn't spent enough time with him to accurately see his true face behind the slippery words he liked to use. But I think I can trust him. Some of the things he said and did frightened me more than I wanted to admit, but he was a good, kind person at heart. I wanted to believe that, so I decided to hold on to my faith in him and not doubt the course of action he chose to follow. I should have been thinking about what dangers the future held in store for us, but instead I felt calm. Bye-bye. December 1867. December 1867. Scarcely a month had passed since Aberono-koji. Saito and Heisuke had returned, but the Shinsengumi was hardly back to normal. A dark, tense atmosphere pervaded the compounds. Many men had lost their lives in Kazuma's attack. Even more had been injured during the attack at Aberono-koji. Among them was Heisuke. Several of the rank-and-file soldiers had seen him mortally wounded. He had looked as if he would not survive. For that reason, Heisuke was declared officially dead and made a member of the Fury Corps. Saito hadn't been wounded, but many among the common soldiers began to call him a coward. To them, he had left the Shinsengumi to join Ito, then betrayed his new master when he sensed a change in fortunes. I saw no reason why he shouldn't set them straight, and say that he had never truly left the Shinsengumi, but he claimed he would rather stay silent than tarnish the honor of the commander and the chief who had ordered his actions. As such, it was decided that Saito would leave the compound until tempers had been allowed to cool. He was sent to stay at Tenma in order to protect Kyutaro Miura, an official of the Kishu domain. The night of the battle at Aberono-koji was a turning point for the Shinsengumi. For the men who didn't know the details, it was simply a battle against their former comrades, the guardians of the imperial tomb. Those better informed knew the situation with the Satsuma and Choshu domains had changed, and Ryoma Sakamoto's hit was part of the big plan. Only the heads of the Shinsengumi knew the whole story, the activities of the demons, and Heisuke's transformation into a fury. They were also the only ones who knew that Okita's illness had gotten worse. Such an important battle had stirred up the atmosphere in the compound, and for several days there were excited men everywhere, shouting and talking. Moments of silence were quite rare. I felt I would only be in the way if I was wandering around the grounds, so I did my best to stay in my room by myself.
Ah, thank goodness you're here.
Sanan walked into my room without saying anything.
If you'd gone out, I wouldn't have been able to look for you.
Sanan? But it's daytime. Are you sure you're all right?
Yes. I've just had a revelation. I just had to tell you immediately.
His eyes glittered with something, and even though he was smiling, I could feel the fingers of dread begin to poke at the base of my spine. Why me? Wouldn't you want to tell Kondo or Hijikata instead?
Well, it has to be you. You listened to my idea, yes?
Although he asked it in the form of a question, his choice of words made it seem far from letting me make a choice. Sanan started to talk without waiting for my answer.
Yukimura, that Princess Sen had claimed that you are of the demon clan, right? And as a demon, you are stronger, faster, and more resilient than a human. Demonic superiority was displayed quite clearly by those demons who just attacked us.
Well, I understand that, but what was Sanan trying to get at? My heart started to pound, anticipating bad news.
A demon possesses immense power. It follows that the blood, which flows through demon veins, should be similarly powerful. Perhaps it is even potent enough to completely counteract the madness of the Furies.
I didn't know how the Water of Life worked, but Sanan's explanation seemed logical, even if it was a bit manic. How can you know that for sure?
Since before I became a Fury, I've been researching how the Water of Life works. I know more about it than anyone else here. I still have yet to discover the exact composition of the Water of Life, but I am hypothesizing that a core ingredient is fresh blood, and I'm assuming not from a human. Perhaps there may be demons or demon-like entities roaming throughout foreign countries.
So... Sanan drew closer to me without making a sound.
In any event, I believe it's worth testing. Your very existence could save the Fury Core. No, the entire Shinsengumi.
Wait. Sanan's eyes had grown painfully sharp, and I almost thought I could hear the barest edge of madness in his voice.
Now.
Calmly he drew his sword from his scabbard. There was no madness or bloodlust in his movements, and that only made them all the more terrifying.
Oh, there's nothing to be afraid of. I'm not going to kill you or anything. I just want a small sample of your blood, that's all.
I took a step back, too. Sanan and his sword came closer. Yeek! He lifted it, and the steel blade shimmered in the light. And then, all of a sudden, just then... Hey, Sanan, what the hell are you doing? Hijikata had burst into the room. Then... What is this, Sanan? Of all people, I'd expect you to know better than to draw your sword on someone in the compounds. Have you lost your mind? Hijikata.
Oh, Hijikata, excellent timing. Please give me a hand here. You also need to convince her to cooperate with us.
With calm purpose, he stepped between Sanan and me. I think that's supposed to be Hijikata, not Sanan. Put your sword away. Personal conflicts are forbidden. The rules of conduct apply to everyone, even the captains. Sanan glared at Hijikata begrudgingly for several moments, but he soon turned away and sheathed his sword. So what happened? Did Yukimura do something?
I'm searching for a way to treat the madness of the Furies, for the good of the Shinsengumi.
And that means you have to cut her?
I'm not going to kill her. I only need a little of her blood. We've lost so many of the Furies from the battle the other day. Many of our human soldiers have fallen as well. If we are to effectively utilize the Furies we have left, as well as the ones we are about to create, then we must find a way to temper their madness. I know you for an intelligent man, Hijikata. Surely you understand.
The code says that we don't fight each other for any reasons. You haven't forgotten, have you? So no matter what reason you give me, I cannot condone bloodshed amongst our members.
However, Yukimura is not technically a member of the Shinsengumi.
Maybe not, but she's been here long enough. She might as well be. They continued to stare for a while, neither willing to budge on the matter at hand. Sanan sighed.
As usual, you're too soft. I guess I have no choice. I'll leave for now. But keep in mind, if we do not discover a method of suppressing the side effects of the Water of Life, even Toto will begin to suffer from the blood loss.
Only after I'd heard his footsteps fade away down the hall did I begin to breathe again. You okay? Oh, yes. Thank you for helping me. Nothing to thank me for. I just ensured Sanan followed the code. In the past, he wouldn't have stood up to me like that. I looked down. It's true. Sanan had been acting strangely lately. He would have never drawn his sword as aggressively as he did before he drank the serum. I was going to say the water of life, but it's the same thing. I'm sorry. Huh? What's gotten over you? There's nothing for you to apologize for. Well, the reason why Sanan was acting the way he did in the first place was because Kazuma destroyed the Fury Core. After I said this, Hijikata paused and reflected to himself before responding. I think you've gotten things mixed up. Huh? They are allied with the Satsuma and Choshu. In other words, they are our enemy. If an enemy attempts to attack us, it's a given that we're going to put our lives on the line to stop them. He spoke with so much conviction, but it's none of your responsibilities to protect me. So what are you saying then? We should just offer you on a silver platter to them and beg for them to spare our lives? Just because they have powers we don't? This is not the samurai way. For us, once we've decided on something, we will never compromise that decision. We're not bitches. Hijikata was so confident with what he was saying, and I felt there was no real tension in his calm. To his calm. In his calm, to his calm. I don't know what the heck I'm saying. Even if he wouldn't say as much, I'm sure he knows that kicking me out of the Shinsengumi would make their lives so much easier. But if they did that, it would be a violation of the values they pride themselves on upholding. I'm sorry if what I said was out of line. I already told you. You don't have to apologize. Don't make me repeat myself. Hijikata said this timidly, muttering under his breath, before looking down in my direction. He's blushing. I have to say, Hijikata blushes very easily compared to some of the other ones. Him and I think Toto does too. But still, Hijikata, it's one that you wouldn't expect to blush so much. Next time something like this happens, be sure to tell me. Don't keep it to yourself. You can always tell Yamazaki or Shimada too. All right, understood. I'm going to let you guys go here. I hope you are enjoying, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!